and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build the contraption in the background. A flying machine powered sugarcane farm. Let's go. Now before I get into the step-by-step tutorial and the material list, I should probably let you know that before you build this in your survival world, I would definitely recommend building it in a testing world first. Because the thing about this farm is that the size is very variable. So to get the size that you want, I would recommend testing out different designs, seeing how many materials we'll need, because this could stretch anywhere from 2 blocks to from that end of the loaded chunks to that end of the loaded chunks. It's insane. Materials needed are as follows: a variable amount of grass or dirt blocks, same amount of sugarcane as your grass or dirt, a variable amount of removable objects. It doesn't have to be obsidian, it can be furnaces or droppers or anything within inventory, as long as it isn't a chest or something. It has to be solid. Or at least it works best if it's solid, otherwise you can get losses. A variable amount of solid building blocks, between 2 and 12 honey blocks, a variable amount of rails, 2 powered rails for every 8 regular rail, a redstone torch for every 2 powered rails, 2 water buckets, 2 hoppers, 12 repeaters, 4 redstone dust, a redstone comparator, 2 redstone torches, 3 sticky pistons, 5 observers, a lever, 4 powered rails, a minecart with a hopper, 18 solid building blocks, 2 immovable objects. Again, it can be anything with an inventory, or terracotta even, for example, and 2 chests. The first thing to do is to build up your minecart docking station. So you're going to want to place 2 hoppers facing into each other, 2 powered rails, one of which is on top of the hopper, a block there to stop the minecart when it reaches this point, and then you're going to want to break this block here, place down a comparator, go a block along, break that block, place a redstone torch, place a block above that redstone torch, a redstone repeater coming out of that block, and a block that the repeater is going into. And as you'll see, this will power the powered rails. Although, the moment that items enter the hopper, the powered rails will turn off so that the minecart can unload everything. The next thing to do is to determine how long you want your farm to be. I am planning to make my farm around about this big for the purposes of the video, but as I said, you can go right up to the end, to the edge of the loaded chunks. And then after that, go underneath your powered rails, place in a redstone torch, and then make a ditch and place in redstone torches as long as you want your farm to be. Once you've got this ditch in place, cover it over, and then place in all of your rails up to where your last redstone torch is. Make sure that they all connect up in this kind of zigzag way. Once you've reached the end point of the width of your farm, place in 2 powered rails just there, and then underneath this powered rail, place in a redstone torch. Then place in some white concrete, and that is your minecart track done. A good way to make sure that you've placed in enough powered rails is to set off your minecart before you've even built the entire farm. Of course, break it after you've done all the testing, as otherwise it could get in the way. Yep, that appears to be working. Don't forget to wait for it to come back as well, as occasionally you might have placed enough powered rails for it to get there, but if you're building it, if you built it slightly wrong and you had to raise up the platform a little, occasionally the dips and rises in the track can cause weirdness to happen. The next thing to do is to place in your grass in strips like this. Make sure that they are in strips that are 2 blocks wide, apart from the edge pieces of grass, as your water will go in between the 2 strips. And and if you have a too wide thing over here, then you'll be unable to plant any sugarcane on this strip just here. The next thing to do is place in the remainder of your grass to cover up the gaps in these strips, as I said, your water's going to be going in here, and if you don't do this, then it will all flow out. After you've done that, place in all of your slabs like this, as these are going to be waterlogged, so that the farm is a bit less lossless than it otherwise would be. That was a hard sentence to say. Next thing to do is to use your 2 water buckets to make an infinite water source like this, that you can then take water from to fill in all of your slabs. Now once that's done, feel free to place in all of your sugarcane, apart from on the end pieces here. Next up, I'd recommend placing in a small wall here to make sure that the farm is, again, a little bit more lossless. The wall should be 3 high, and the middle layer should be out of immovable objects. I'd recommend having a transparent object like glass here, so that light can get in. After you've done that, place in another small wall across your sticking out bits of grass. Again, this will make it slightly less lossless, as now the only bits that will be lost are the top pieces of sugarcane on the ends. Now it is time to build up your flying machine. The only absolutely necessary parts of the flying machine is the bit in the centre just here. It is constructed out of 2 pieces of honey, sticky pistons facing into them. Make sure that that they're facing along the farm, not across. And then 2 observers, which you should make sure are facing across the farm, not along. Then you can expand out your honey blocks to fill up the width of the farm. It's time for the system that will automatically send off your farm to do whatever it's going to do. The first thing you're going to want to do is place in an observer facing outwards of the observer closest to it, and then underneath it place an immovable object, and then your building block. After you've done that, build out another 3 from there, and then make that 2 wide. Place in 3 repeaters, set them all to 4 ticks, and then do that again on the other side, but facing the other way. Then place in 2 pieces of redstone dust right here, and finally place in a piston just here to update this observer. Now, whatever you do, do not test this until you have copied this on the other side just over here. Although, I should probably say, don't build the flying machine again. Just the docking and the sending out system. If you want this farm to have an on-off switch, and I strongly suggest that you should, then the way you build it is by breaking this repeater right here, replacing that with an observer facing into this repeater, so it will detect the update from this one and send it into this one. The update detecting base is the side that looks like a face. Then, build out a couple of temporary blocks so that you can place in a piston facing into the observer but a block away. And then place in a lever, and then you can pull the observer backwards and forwards, and if it's inside the system, then it will allow the signal through. If it isn't, then it won't. And also, bear in mind, when you activate this, it will detect an update and send off the flying machine, as you can see right here. Place in the minecart, and that will get sent off, and it will pick up everything. Currently, no sugarcane has grown just yet, but when it does, and the machine is on, it will be broken by the honey and dropped to the floor, where it can be picked up by the hopper minecart. Final thing to do is to place in your 2 chests out of the hopper. And that's it. Your farm is now complete. Okay, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful to you. Don't forget, build this in a testing world first, as the materials that you need are very variable. But anyway, that's about it from me. So, until next time, bye!